So I want to talk about this particular story coming out of the Daily Wire. Now, over the course of the past couple of years, I have been very critical of the Me Too movement, and predominantly because of the way that it's been used as very much a weapon, and in my mind, not as much of a shield as it should be. It's meant to both protect and attack. I get that. The Time's Up movement, I mean, this whole thing with Joe Biden and Tara Reid and how the Time's Up movement would not touch that case because they're a nonprofit and they don't want to be viewed as, well, they can't interact on any kind of government, like on behalf of any kind of activism, like that would be considered political. However, the Biden campaign or Biden himself apparently has paid them like a lot of money since they turned down taking on that case. So I have criticisms about the movement. I do have criticisms about the movement. And one of the things that popped up today or yesterday was really funny was the fact that now it's Alyssa Milano v. Rose McGowan and the utter destruction of the Me Too movement. So according to this article here from the Daily Wire, from Ash Shao. And Ash is definitely someone I put faith into as being a reporter. She's a little bit biased, but I've been following her work for years, and I do think she comes at it from a place of integrity, although it is the Daily Wire, so take that with a grain of salt. But it says here, Rose McGowan calls Alyssa Milano a Me Too fraud for supporting Joe Biden after sexual assault allegations. And you have to love this photo here, right? You have to just love this photo here from like way back in the day when they were friends, you know? It's kind of like that image of the that cursed image of all the skeptics from VidCon 2017, right? Back before we all hated each other, and then back then everyone was all happy, hunky dory, huge group photo, and then 6 months later destroyed. It's kind of like that. I mean, if you want to really call this like a cursed image, you could probably call this a cursed image. However, let's find out more. Actress and prominent Me Too activist Rose McGowan had some harsh words for fellow activist and actress Alyssa Milano after the latter said she was endorsing former Vice President Joe Biden despite sexual assault allegations against him. And look, this Tara Reid allegation thing needs to be investigated. There's no question about that. It needs to be investigated. I mean, if the media spent more time on Bernie Sanders allegedly telling Elizabeth Warren that a woman couldn't be president, going as far as to completely shield Warren and attack Bernie over it. But this allegation comes out and there's nothing. A woman, I mean, Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump, it was a consensual affair. I mean, oh my God, we're talking months and months and months of mainstream media coverage and nonstop media coverage. Nothing out of this. Nothing, not a damn thing. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. I don't want Trump to get reelected, but come on. Make no mistake, Tara Reid is going to be at one of the presidential debates, front row, looking dead at Joe Biden. That will happen because that's the kind of game Trump likes to play, and the media is just, oh my God. Anyway, McGowan here says on Twitter here, she says, "You are a fraud. This is about holding the media accountable. You go after Trump and Kavanaugh saying, believe victims. You are a lie. You have always been a lie. The corrupt DNC is on the smear job of Tara Reid. So are you. Shame." I'm going to use a weird voice for Rose McGowan because I think she's a weird person, and I think she probably has a weird voice. She's definitely intense. There's that. As the Daily Wire reported, Milano tweeted a YouTube clip of her appearance on Andy Cohen's Sirius XM show, explaining why she had remained silent after Biden was accused of decades-old sexual assault by a former staff member named Tara Reid, saying, "I have not publicly said anything about this. If you remember, it took me a long time to say anything about Harvey Weinstein as well, because I believe that even though we should believe women, and that is an important thing, what the statement really means is that, for so long the go-to has not been to believe them. So we really have a sort of societal change, the mindset to believing women, but that doesn't mean at the expense of not giving men their due process in investigating situations. So it's got to be fair in both directions." Oh my God. No. What is that? What is that? Look, I mean, don't get me wrong. With this statement, she's 100% right. She is. You have to give everyone due process. She's 100% correct on that front. But this is a bullshit statement. This is absolutely dumb. This is fucking ridiculous. Because 2 years ago, she was not saying this. 2 years ago, she was wearing a pussy hat and marching with everyone else. 2 years ago, she wouldn't have said this. And especially when in regards to something that's like a presidential candidate, the presumptive nominee. This is something that people need to investigate. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. Now, this has been a far cry different from what Milano has said and how she's acted in other situations. When she condemned Donald Trump and the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh after they were accused of sexual assault without any investigation whatsoever. I mean, that's very true. She did. I mean, remember, there's that famous image of her at the Supreme Court. When she's or not at the Kavanaugh hearing, when all of a sudden, like you're watching it, and then just like Alyssa Milano's head pops out from the back, and you're like, wait a minute, is that fucking Melissa? What the fuck is Alyssa Milano doing there? And then it's like, is that Alyssa Milano? And people were really questioning if it was her, and it was actually her. It's like she went to DC, she went there, and I mean, here it is, like a year later and some change, I guess. I don't remember exactly when it was, but like, about a year later, and she's like totally whoop, no, due process, baby. It's all about due process. If you don't got due process, you ain't got nothing. So there. She goes on to say here that, so I've been very vocal about Biden and my support for him. I've known him for a long time, so I did my due diligence. She said, saying part of the reason she questioned the accusations was an article about how MeToo legal funds Time's Up refused to take Reed's case, even though they said the reason was due to their classification as a nonprofit and not anything to do with whether they believed Reed. Again, and I mentioned that before too, but my whole point on that was you figured they could then recommend her to somebody that would take the case. They would have to have some kind of, there would have to be an offshoot that would not be tied to this specifically that could, I mean, where the hell is Gloria Allred? I mean, like literally, like she's got Google alerts set up for Harvey Weinstein, and she's like, bing, bing, and she sends off messages, and she's at where's Gloria Allred on this one? All I'm saying is like, if you're, there's avenues that could be taken. Clear that the Time's Up movement didn't take those avenues. She says, I just don't feel comfortable throwing away a decent man that I've known for 15 years in this time of complete chaos without there being a thorough investigation. I'm sure the mainstream media would be jumping all over this as well if they found more evidence through their investigating. But the thing is, the mainstream media is not investigating this. They're not talking about this. And I don't want to sit there and accuse Biden of something that may or may not have happened. I don't know. But we have to, what I'm saying is if you are out there, calling for Kavanaugh to be investigated, and you're out there saying Trump should be investigated, and you're out there, backing Harvey Weinstein being convicted for 23 years, and good for him, he's a fucking scumbag. But if you're out there doing all those things, and then this is like a friend of yours, and you're like, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit there and say I don't get it. Like, I get it. I do get it. But own the fucking shit. Own the fucking fact that you're taking this thing and you're not gonna sit there and like you're backing your buddy. Just you're basically saying all of that like it's a read between the lines situation. She's like, well, I'm not gonna say anything because he's my friend. Well, where's the fucking objectivity, Miss Milano? Huh? Where's the believe women, Miss Milano? That's my question to you. That's my question. Fucking investigate that shit. Now, Andy jumped in to suggest the mainstream media would be all over the story if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic and if there were more credible evidence. But goes on to say here, that's not true, however, as the media rushed to report every accusation against Kavanaugh, even when the evidence was non-existent. Christine Blasey Ford said Kavanaugh attacked her when they were in high school 3 decades earlier, but there isn't one iota of evidence the two were ever in the same room together. Kavanaugh's second accuser, Deborah Ramirez, didn't even know if Kavanaugh was the man who assaulted her until after she talked to Democrat lawyers. The third, Julie Swetnick, was interviewed on TV, even though NBC knew the story was incredible. And look, there's all that. Now it gets into the Me Too stuff here. Milano then took a strange turn for her and other Me Too champions by seriously suggesting that we remember due process. Huh? She says, I sent the Me Too tweet over 2 years ago, and I never thought that it would be something that was going to destroy innocent men. How the fuck do you not know that? Like, how the fuck do you not look at that, at that moment, that political climate, and not look at the Aziz Ansari story, and not look at other countless times where men have been falsely accused over the years before Me Too, and not had any inkling of foresight that what could happen was going to happen, right? Let's be fair on this front. It's absolutely fucking there. She's just covering her ass. That's what it is. She's covering her ass. I've covered this shit for years across the board. I've seen so many false allegations come out, so many things happen over the years, and it's like due process doesn't happen in the court of public fucking opinion. So you know what? She's not a legislator. She's not a lawyer. She's not a detective. She's just another fucking couch activist like the fucking rest of Twitter. And the rest of us dumbasses too that sit there on the couch and tweet about shit we may not know everything about. And then go back on it later on. Well, I didn't know that due process was a bad thing. I didn't know that due process was a bad thing. Fuck off. You fucking knew. You said fucking nothing. Fuck off. Which is true. She fucking said nothing. She said absolutely nothing until now. Well, I mean, it's my friend, so maybe due process matters now. Fuck off. She says here, we have to find this balance in the Believe Women movement that also, and also giving men their due process and realizing that we're destroying lives if we publicly don't go through the right steps in order to find out if an accusation is credible or not. I just, man, I'm fucking, the lack of self-awareness is not even zero. It's like, it's below zero. It is subarctic temperature. Like you take one step outside, we're talking flash freezing. You turn to ice like Wesley Snipes at the end of Demolition Man. I mean, that is how fucking below self-aware we are. Holy crap. Yeah, and then Ash finishes up here by saying anyone with half a brain could have foreseen the innocent men getting swept up when we're told no women would ever lie about being raped, even though there's amicable historical evidence. And Milano only cares now because it's someone she likes who's being accused. And that's true, man. It's only because it's someone that she likes is being accused.